What's up, guys? Welcome back to Our Way Out. Thank you for your time and for showing us love. We hope you enjoyed today's conversation because we have some special guests for you guys. We have Fred Money and Jon Cesario with us today, and you guys' story is really interesting because at some point, you were incarcerated, right? And you were a correctional officer.
Yeah.
And cross paths somewhere, or how was that?
So we didn't cross paths until after he had paroled, and I was in Sacramento. As stated with corrections, I spent 30 years in corrections. Started back in 1995. Went up to a brand new prison that had never seen an inmate in it, and activated and opened it almost right out of the academy, called High Desert State Prison.
High Desert, yeah.
So probably around the same time, Jon, you were doing time. That's it, right?
Yeah.
And our paths never crossed within the corrections. At the end of my career, I ended up in Sacramento, and out of headquarters of CDCR, and I was the captain over the fire camp program. One of my outings, actually, out to the Sierra Conservation Center, I was hyping up camp and telling everyone about camps, and one of the incarcerated individuals standing in there raised his hand and literally was like, what is there really for me? And his concern is that he was on his third term, and he was from a small county that he said had absolutely no resources. I won't say the name of the county. I don't want to offend anyone. That had no resources for him, and that every time he left, even though he had gone to camp, this was actually his third involvement with camp, he would fail. He'd parole and go right back to what he knew. And I didn't know what the answer was. So I started researching different resources, different nonprofits, different organizations. And at that point, believe it or not, even though I came out and they've been around for quite some time, I came across the name of the Anti-Recidivism Coalition. I really didn't know what they were. Dove into them, found out that they were in the Ventura Training Center, found out that they were in Sacramento and Los Angeles. And so I reached out to the Anti-Recidivism Coalition trying to find out how they work, what are their resources. And I think, Jon, you were actually probably the first person I was put in contact with the Anti-Recidivism Coalition to get information on really what they offered and provided. And from there, I ended up in requesting that he go into the reception centers with me to recruit and provide this information to the incarcerated populations at the beginning of their, not just for camps, not just how to get to camps, but also, different organizations that were out there.
Right.
The Anti-Recidivism Coalition. I think you guys are planning on talking to them later, but the Future Fire Academy, different programs, the Forestry Fire Recruitment Program, as many organizations crop as I could find to help provide those resources for them. So that's when our paths crossed, and couldn't be more honored because I worked for him with Jon for about 3.5 years, going in the reception center and just an incredible partner.
And this is crazy and interesting how a former correctional officer is now partnered up with a former inmate, and you guys seem to have a great relationship. How was it, Fred? How was that transition like, or what inspired you to get into this line of work as a former CO? What helped change your path?
Just where life takes you. For a long time, and I have no regrets about working at High Desert. I actually loved High Desert State Prison. I loved the people I worked with. I loved the prison life, right? Back in those days, we did a lot of cell extractions, and it was all just part of the job. I never pictured myself going down anywhere other than high desert. I ended up interviewing for a lieutenant's position, which was supposed to be between the California Conservation or Correctional Center, CCC, which is now closed, and high desert. And high desert actually backed out of that interview because they only had one position and they were going to have a few more. And they CCC held the interview, and I ended up by chance at CCC. And then just through different ways of life, right? Just things that happen. I do believe things happen in life for a reason. I ended up in the camp office, overseeing the camp office there at the CCC. Wanted no part of it, wanted nothing to do with it. And I was put in there as both the camp lieutenant at first over the camps, and then as the camp captain over the northern camps. And then elected to not go the captain route. I stepped back and went out to run a conservation camp called Eel River Conservation Camp. Ran it for about 8 years, and I just realized the good that this whole program, the system, life changing that it does individuals. And to tell you the truth, the very first fire I was ever on, which I think it was in 2014, was called the Bully Fire. Right there, I kind of had one of those first, oh man, this does something. And I don't remember his name. I definitely remember what he looked like, but we were unloading at the Redding Fairgrounds, or the Anderson Fairgrounds outside of Redding. And a younger white incarcerated individual got off the back of the bus. And I just remember him looking at me, and, soot across his face, and he's sweat. There's chaps, and we were getting ready to go feed breakfast. And he turned and looked at me. He said, "Damn, Lou, I have never worked a day in my life." He goes, "At least now I know I can."
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, that was, to me, kind of profound. And and you can just see the sincerity in it all within his eyes and his actions. And fell in love with the camp program. And now that's where I want all my focus kind of to be, is in true rehabilitative programs. For everybody. I mean, for, all the different organizations, nonprofits, the ones that are doing the good work out there, and definitely for fire camps, because camps are in a bit of a hard time.
Are they? What? Why is that?
Camps, there were a couple things that really impacted camps over the last 8 years, maybe 10 years. Prop 47 and different, Prop 36 at first, I think, that started the PRCS program. A lot of crimes and a lot of different things that used to be the pipeline of camps no longer exist. So, nonviolent drug offenders.
They're not getting drugs into prison.
Right. And that used to be the pipeline for the camps program.
Interesting, yeah.
So between that and then COVID almost decimated the camps. We're just kicking people out. We got down to about a third.
Yeah, I was in Pine Grove during COVID, and it got we went from 4 crews to 2.
Yeah, in all the camps.
Yeah.
Right. And they still haven't rebounded, but there's a totally different population in prisons now. A lot of the populations are violent or in for violent crimes. And it's learning how to take what we have as a population now and how to safely get them into camps, which I did really with the YOP program.
Just full offender program?
Yeah, for the first time, because YOP is California law, we'd allowed, based off of not what puts you in prison, but what have you done with your time since you've been in prison, allowed for violent offenders to
be able to go to camp.
And it is a 2-year pilot, and it did so well that this last year it became actually law.
That's good. Nice. Does it matter how much time you have, what your sentence is?
Yeah, they still want you to have less than 8 years.
Less than 8 years.
Less than 8 years. But I think the reason it works so well is outside of the camp program, they shouldn't have been out there, right? John, you were P-coded when you were incarcerated due to a violent crime, and violent crimes with that P-code keep you out of camps and custody. But if you're going to go home and you're going to be released and you're staying disciplinary free for the most part, and you're doing your time, right? I hate to say it, but not the gangster.
Yeah.
Right? You're doing time for you, and you're doing the right thing, then why shouldn't it? You
have that opportunity.
Go out there and learn a work ethic, learn a career, learn how to work hard, because what I truly do believe, and I think why it's worked so well, we saw by putting the young violent offenders out there, we saw zero uptick in violence in the camps. You know, no uptick in the issues. They ran like everybody else. And I think it's because they have buy-off. If they weren't in camp, they'd be sitting on a yard as a medium custody inmate behind a wall and chain link, right? And on top of that, they get an opportunity to go out and get a career and change their lives. And I think most importantly of all is lack of a better word, I'll just speak frank, we work the dog shit out of them.
Yeah.
Right? You were in camp, you know, right?
Yeah.
And I think everybody that's ever done camp, there's some point in time where they go, I can't do this anymore. My body hurts. I don't want any part of this. But then when they wake up the next day and find out they can, not just their bodies get stronger, their minds get stronger. They start realizing that they're not victims, and not everybody wants to see you fail. And there's people that want to see you succeed and cheer you on. And it's just an incredible program. It needs to be expanded.
Yeah. I hope I really hope it does, because like you said, fire camp for me was more than just learning about firefighting. Like I had the opportunity to go into the VTC center, but I chose to go the film route, and the things I've learned and the work that I put in fire camp transferred over to this, because this is hard work too. And it's nothing compared to what I was doing out there. So it makes this almost easy in a sense, so that it's prepared me for a lot in my life. You know, so I hope they continue to go with these fire camps.
And I want to highlight something you said about, you know, rather than sitting in a prison cell, you have an opportunity to do something with your life or with your time, because while you're there, you still get paid, right? You still make money. Sure, you're able to save and have some money when you come home. And me, I couldn't go to fire camp because I was P-coded, I had a violent offense, but had I been given the opportunity, I would have taken fire camp for that reason, because I never had a job either coming home. That was one of my insecurities. Like, man, what am I going to do when I come home? I've never worked anywhere but like maybe like a porter job, you know, which is not really a job. So that it does help your mental, you know, it gives you a different confidence coming home, like, you know what, I'm capable. If I could go through that, I could make it through anything. That's very interesting to me. And John, how much time did you do, if you don't mind us asking?
I did 16 years.
16 years, 5 months, and you came home and you got connected with ARC.
Not initially. But I got blessed to come home in 2016 on Thanksgiving.
On Thanksgiving Day?
Yeah, I think
wow.
Day, bro. So,
man.
And it was a day to be thankful.
Yeah.
And I remember spending the day with my family, and I didn't realize how institutionalized I was until I got to spend Thanksgiving that night with my family. Mm-hmm. And as much as I was anticipating that for so many years, there was a sense of, man, I don't know if I belong here, you know? And so like what I did immediately is I started reaching out to people that have already walked my path. Sunday I was at church, and then on Monday I was at Oxnard College.
Nice.
And then I started volunteering at a men's home in Oxnard. And then I went through that path, and maybe like 2 years later after I graduated, my friend called me, who was the policy director for ARC, who I did time with.
What's his name?
Mike Mendoza.
Mike. Oh, yeah.
And he tells me about a job that is coming to Ventura, more like a career. And at the same time, my father-in-law told me about this job. And then at the same time, the pastor who I came out and I got under his wing told me about a job, 3 people. And it was the same job. It was a life coach position at the Ventura Training Center. And I still was iffy, bro, because I was at the men's home. I was going to college. I just graduated. I was going to go into my, 3 or 4 year college.
Right.
And I went over there that day and did an interview. Yeah. And it was an institution, it was an institution. So I thought, and when I went in, I saw that it was a fire camp one time. So it was an institution fire camp a year prior. And I looked and I was like, oh, they're not going to let me. No way. And because I had never been to camp, like you always P-coded.
Yeah.
But then when I went in there, I interviewed. They were really looking for somebody who was connected to the community. And at that time I was still.
Yeah.
And with that, I did my interview. I got approved. I was one of the first staff of part of the launching. And they said it, this is a plane that's being built in the air. And we don't know what the success rate is going to be like here. Pilot program. A lot of people thought it was going to only make it a year or 2.
Yeah.
Community almost voted it out.
Oh, no way. Why?
Yeah, there was a town hall meeting a little bit before that. And the votes were not in favor of ETC. But ARC members and staff, they showed up that night. And one by one, they told their story of success and what happened with the second chance. And the next day, it was voted in.
Oh, awesome. Yeah.
So it's a blessing. Now we're going on 8 years. We're about to bring in class 25.
Now,
got over 300 guys that are wearing badges for California.
And how does
Some captains.
Yeah.
captain?
Another one coming up.
Wow.
Engineers.
How does the program work? What's the process?
I mean, there's 4 phases to it. But I mean, it's a burden because, hundreds and hundreds of people are applying, but quarterly, maybe like 30, 35, maybe.
Yeah.
So it's like the best of the camp, firehouses. And they get there, and once they get there, they're there for 6 weeks. It's like boot camp.
6 weeks?
6 weeks
6 weeks.
is a boot camp, meaning you can't go
Anywhere?
You can leave after hours, but really, no one's leaving.
Yeah, you're too tired. Yeah.
They're making their bed, military tuck. They're shining their boots. They're ironing their uniform, the inspection.
Yeah.
And a lot of our guys that came home, they've been incarcerated their whole life. So it's like some guys don't never even did the laundry.
Yeah.
Unless it was in a bucket. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Somebody
by hand.
polish their boots. So that, it's a good experience because they're not doing it alone. They're doing it with the team.
Yeah.
They're doing it with the community and guys that have already been there. So we got the different stages of VTC. Some guys are right in the middle fighting fires. Some guys are in the academy about to graduate doing like a structure program. Yeah. But nevertheless, all these different stages, our guys are giving back now. That have been there a while. They're now mentoring,
teaching and helping. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like it's a community, it's a village in itself. It's like a mini world.
Yeah.
And our guys leave there, off of parole, record expunged, category 1, which is like for the last 4 years, we've had 100% success.
Right. Yeah.
For guys going into CAL FIRE after completing the whole program.
Man, that's awesome.
And our name is well known all over the state.
How long is the full program?
It varies depending on how you get there because we're the only academy that has a fire season that you tackle while you're there.
Yeah.
Like after the 6 weeks are up, you go straight into a strike team.
And crew. Yeah.
And we respond, bro. We were at the Palisades fire. We were at the Madre fire, Mountain fire. Some of the fires that got real big attention right here. Mm-hmm. Our guys were boots on the ground. Mm-hmm. The first ones there, the last ones to leave all the way when the rains came, Palisades.
Yeah. I feel like LA has like a special place in their heart for the firefighters because of all the hard work they did. We were able, thankfully, because of Scott Budnick, we had the opportunity to go to make food for the firefighters that were fighting the Palisades fires. Fire camps, a lot of the fire camps like Pine Grove, Growlersburg, and they came straight off the line to
Yeah,
Just we cooked up for him.
I
Yeah.
remember that.
and like you said, you could see the tiredness, and their eyes and their bodies. They're like they've been through some stuff, like they've been working nonstop. So for us to show up with some food, it felt really special. It felt like we were giving back to the community, and it even felt like we were helping with the fight, just by feeding them. And a lot of them were great guys, and some of them have came home and continued to pursue that career. So that's inspiring to see how like that opportunity has become part of their life. And going in, I'm sure they never ever imagined to fight fires or become a firefighter or anything like that. But then you get put in this situation where it's like, you know what? I think I found my purpose.
Yeah.
So that's always I'm sure you see it a lot with your boys.
Oh yeah.
And they have females there too?
No.
No females?
But that's like in the works. I
Oh yeah.
in the next years, because our girl firefighters, man, they don't play, man.
So they do have a separate program. Is there a separate program with girls?
Up in Calabasas that just graduated, the firefighters.
Oh, okay.
And there are 2 female camps.
There's okay.
Incarcerated. There used to be more, but that's a very small population too. So they do have 2 female camps at camps called Malibu and Puerto La Cruz. So females that are incarcerated can take advantage of it too. And then are you talking about the Future Fire Academy?
Yeah, the Future Fire Academy is such a blessing because, again, that burden I talked about earlier, having to turn a lot of people away, and people that have never been to camp. Got a lot of our guys that never been to camp, but they want to go and have a career.
Yeah.
Like Future Fire, Anthony Pedro, and Michelle, and them, they put a platform together where our people can now go and pursue it from a different route. And we've done our best to promote and collaborate, send people that way, and really that's all we do. We're fortunate to go inside and point in different directions and to give people hope.
Yeah.
Purpose. This purpose is huge, so I got to go in for almost 3.5 years with Captain Money and literally go into the same institution, the first yard that I ever landed on in prison at 18 years old,
which was
yard Wasco. I got to go in there quarterly for 3.5 years and say a different message.
Yeah.
I was fortunate. He gave me this opportunity. I'm indebted to Captain Money.
And what Jon said too, because I think you guys are going to interview them later or on another podcast with Anthony, Pedro, and Michelle. That's another nonprofit, although they did get state funding this year for the first time. But, that was another one that I found just by reaching out. I was doing some research, and our departmental newspaper, which is called OPEC, had done an article on Anthony Pedro about the Future Fire Academy. And I think it was our secretary's award for rehabilitative program of excellence or something like that. So I reached out to him early on going into the reception centers and said, hey, do you got information on your organization I can take into the reception centers with us and pass out? Because what I really liked about the Future Fire Academy is it's a pathway for people that might not be able to go to camps.
Yeah.
Anyone can do it.
Oh, gotcha.
Anyone to get your certificates. But that one's really growing too, because since I first met him, Anthony, he's done fire academies for both our male rehabilitation MCRPs and FCRPs, release community programs, I think, or something along that line. And right now I'm trying to get him, because one of the next things I would like to instill, and even though I'm not in the position as the camp's captain anymore in Sacramento, I still work with them a lot. With the current captain that's in there called Brian Sloat, Captain Sloat. But we just took him to Growlersburg, and we just took him to Jamestown, to the Sierra Conservation Center, to meet with everybody, because my goal is to start offering for those individuals that do want to follow it as a career path. Jon said the Ventura Training Center will get you to a Category 1. FFA will get you to a Category 2, which still puts you up higher in the hand crew and hiring with CAL FIRE. But trying to get people that want to make this a career, why wait till after they leave prison and have to further do it?
Yeah.
Those guys that are doing a great job, they're swampers and pullers and saws, and they're doing a great job. Get them into some fire academies
while they're
in camp. And so when they release from prison, they could still go to the Ventura Training Center, become a Category 1, but they can also come with those certs, those certificates in hands, to where they're better suited, even that much better suited to get a career.
Like a head start. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Took off some roadblocks too.
Yeah,
because we got some of our youngsters in Ventura that I worked with that haven't even gone to like juvenile hall, but they were headed that way, and not waiting for them to get in there to go to like a Pine Grove camp. We intervened, and with that, Future Fire has accepted them. Have given them scholarships to go and do an academy. Purpose with pain, with the crew, and the career path. So like we have 17 up there right now that are up there crushing. Crushing.
And I want to just capitalize off something, if you guys don't mind. That Jon said earlier, and you said also, because there might be someone that watches this with a family member that is incarcerated. But the camps program, besides the job, besides the mental and physical toughness and strength that it builds in somebody and the rebuilding of the individual, you touched on pay. So it's also pays very well, especially now
with the new
this year. $7.25. Federal minimum wage. So forever it was $1 an hour. I had actually been trying to get a raise for the 3 years that I was in the captain's position and failed consistently on getting a raise. And I had actually tracked that $1 all the way back to 1980.
Hasn't changed since.
I was pushing for $5 for a long time. Scott Budnick, eternally grateful for his help. And unfortunately, the Palisades fire, between Scott and the Palisades fire and the media that covered, the reason that the incarcerated crews got so much coverage during the Palisades fire is because the incarcerated crews are 24/7, 365. All the other hand crews or wildland crews pretty much were seasonal.
They were off duty almost at the time.
Right. So all the boys in orange rolled in to fight the fires, and everyone was like, man, who's these guys in orange? Right. And it was the incarcerated crews. So that 725 is huge.
It's big because I was able to get out with a few $1,000s just from the 2 years I was there. So I would have had 7 times. On the $1, I would have had 7 times what I had, so that's like a setup for success. I would, yes.
And the other weird thing is on a really good fire year, like a 6-month, I had at least 2 fire seasons in the 8 years I was in camp that were 6-month fire seasons. So that 725 is going to hit taxable income. So we're going to have to teach them how to file.
Financial literacy comes into play.
But the other advantage is, besides the pay, which is incredible, everything that you see in a prison doesn't exist in a camp. There's no razor wire, no chain link fences.
There's softball fields. There's weights. There's
no one a personal alarm device. No one yells, "Get down." There's no gun towers. Right? You're out there in an honor system. Trusting that you're out there to change your life. And with that, if, under AB, 2147, have I been on that one? Right? But that was signed, I think, in 2020, like Jon said, they can get the record expunged too. And that's huge, because really where that came, I think, stemmed from is we were taking individuals and teaching them to be firefighters, but there were still so many roadblocks to careers, such as EMT license.
Yeah.
Right? Can't have an EMT license and a felon. Right? So you can get those records expunged now and just further open the doors. And one of the ones that I would actually like to see happen now is possible expungement to create these other fire programs like the FFA or MMRP. If people go into those programs that might not have had a chance to go to camps and they do very, very well in those programs. And for me, I would like to see them gain employment for a year or two.
Yeah.
But why not? I mean, if they're out there, they're fighting fires, they've gone through the academies, even though they might not have been able to go to camp, they're staying out and they're having employment. Let those records get expunged too, because again, we're trying to make it to where hopefully no one comes back.
Yeah.
They have a meaningful purpose in life, a meaningful career, meaningful pathway, and we end the
cycle. And the cycle. And that's a big difference maker, because it's one thing when you come home and you look forward to working or you're working towards something rather than not knowing what to do, just getting the $200 they give you off the gate. All right. And then, you're on your own, figure it out. This is huge. You're able to like build a career where you could, feed your family and be pretty much set for the rest of your life.
You can thrive. You don't have to just survive. You can thrive in life.
Yeah. And that's a big difference, not only in their lives, but in our communities as well. Because that's one person, one family, less without incarcerated relative, loved one. And you're giving back to the community. You're helping.
That's the part.
Yeah.
And that part right there, I think our guys, like a lot of our community, they've taken so much from, and to be able to go now and like sacrifice lives possibly to now give back, you're getting a career that you're able to live out. You're living amends. Like that's honorable.
Yeah.
For the kids that are now growing up. Dad's now a firefighter. They invite him to the school. My dad's a firefighter. He gets to go in there with this CAL FIRE uniform, and now the kids want to become a firefighter, not a gang member, not somebody who's absent.
Yeah.
My son, he's 7. I've never been to camp, but because I'm
working there,
he wants
to do it now. Yeah.
We got a toy chainsaw at the house.
Yeah.
And the weekend when we go on these little, kickback hikes, he's out there and training at 7 years old.
Yeah.
Because all his uncles are influencing.
That's awesome.
Us through the process.
Yeah. And do you have to be formally incarcerated to join VTC or Future Fire?
VTC, that pathway is through fire camp and firehouse. Recently, they accepted maybe 1 or 2 in a class that don't have any experience, but it's rare.
Yeah.
So with that though, the camp system, that's the instrument. Like the camp, the fighting fires is the instrument. It's the team bonding. It's the work ethic. It's the structure. It's the purpose. All that's wrapped in it. That's like first. Like our chief always says, like firefighting second, character development first, attitudes first. That's what the guys learn through this process. They hate climbing those mountains.
Oh yeah.
Every weather, but they love doing it together.
Yeah. Makes a big difference when you're doing it with people that you love, and it's like a brotherhood. It's makes a big difference.
Absolutely.
Did you get your start when you came out through ARC?
Yeah, ARC helped me out so much. I came home, and it really started with Scott Butnick before there was even an ARC.
Champ.
Yeah, he's been a part of my life since I was 14 years old. Met him at Juvenile Hall, and because he stayed, involved in my life, he obviously started ARC. So when I came home, I went straight to ARC, and I started working there. I was interning there, And while I was doing that, I was also doing school, and being around just good people and seeing others before me like accomplish great things themselves in different careers, such as like getting a construction union, or becoming software engineers, some even owning like their own businesses, like that inspired me. Like, man, if they could do it, I could do it. I could, make something out of my life. So yeah, I started with ARC, and then I was doing Hollywood CPR. So I was learning about the different crafts of production, and I didn't get to finish the program because at the time I had an opportunity to intern at Universal, and that just took me on a whole different path. I did 6 months there, and from there I started working for One Community, Scott's production company. And then another opportunity came up to interview with the director of Just Mercy, Destin Credin, and he gave me a opportunity to work with him, and that just changed it changed my life really, because I came in post. They had already shot most of the film, and it was just amazing to me to be working with a director, coming out of prison and I did 13 years. So never in my wildest dreams did I imagine I would end up working with a director at his scale, and from there he was interviewing for a Marvel film called Shang-Chi, and I was setting up his interviews as his assistant, and he ended up getting the gig. And he's like, "Hey man, how do you feel about, continuing to with me, going to Marvel?" And I was like, in my head, I was like, "Bro, you didn't even gotta ask. I'm for it." He's like, "Think about it, talk with your family." He's like, "There's gonna be some traveling involved," and my answer was already like, "Yes, let's do it." We went out to dinner, and he's like, "How do you feel?" I was like, "Man, let's do it. I'm for it. He's like, "All right, we're gonna go to Australia. We're gonna shoot." Yeah. And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah." And I was still on parole at the time, about to get off. So it was kind of harder for me to get approved to go to Australia, because they're really strict on who they let in their country. But Scott being the man that he is, making, pulling strings and making it happen. I ended up in Australia for 4 months. I had to learn how to drive on the right side of yeah, and it was just a trip for me just to be away from home, being across seas and shooting this Marvel film. Marvel, their budget's like 200 million, so yeah, and it all started with ARC just staying consistent with myself, and holding myself accountable, showing up, and one thing led to another, and that's how I met Jersey. I met this producer named Mike Drake on Just Mercy, and fast forward, I was like, "Hey man, I think I know what I want to do with my life. I've been working with a lot of set dressers, and I see myself doing that." He's like, "Hey, I have a friend. Let me see what I could do." And he gave Jersey a call, and Jersey made it happen for me. And I got into the union, and now I'm a set dresser, and I've been working with Jersey for about 8 years now. And on Let's Make a Deal, and now The Price is Right, and Jersey has changed my life. Like, now I could fend for myself. I have my own place, my own car. Like,
see, and that's one of the things that why I found it so valuable, even to take Jon into the RCs, that whole story, everything you said, right? And there's so many different organizations out there anymore, so many different wraparound services. It's a missing part of corrections. Like, everybody in corrections should know about the ARC and their family members, right? Which is great that this is being discussed on your podcast. Or organizations like CROP, or organizations like the FFA, right? All these different organizations that are there truly to help people. There's more today than I come across them all the time. And a lot of people don't know with IRC that they do have connections with film unions, and they have contacts with construction unions and masonry and all that. So you don't have to go to camp. You don't have to be a firefighter. There are other paths out there. There are people that, again, want to see people break the cycle and not come back to prison. And so you guys asked me earlier, and I'll tell you my story real quick, because on how I met Scott. Right? So since we were on that subject, because all of us are pretty fond of the man. That one was actually a funny story. So when I hit Sacramento, like I said, I wanted to come up with all these ideas to try to foster the camp, bring new life in. And one was the RC recruitments, trying to hit them right out of the RC and educate them about the program. One of the programs that they're still working on right now, it should be this next year, is I would like, we're at a couple of test camps. And it's, like I said, it should be official this year, where their family members are actually going to get to come and pick them up and take them for a family visit in the community.
Oh, that's awesome. Right. For the day or for a few hours?
From 8 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night.
That's awesome.
Go.
That would be cool.
Go to marriage counseling, family counseling, go to a ball game, go to a water slide park with your kids.
Yeah.
Go home.
Yeah.
Mow the lawn, paint the face for the old lady, right?
Yeah.
But, I mean, we're releasing them as firefighters into the communities to fight fire. So, but the big one was the YOP. My old boss, Ron Davis, said, hey, we have this YOP program. Why don't you try to develop a YOP camp? First thing I had to ask, because I came from camps, I didn't know what the hell is a YOP.
Yeah.
And so I found out about the YOP program, the Youthful Offender Program within prison. And I said, absolutely, I think we can make this work. So when I wrote the first test pilot, I actually had it going to and Scott knows this story. He remembers it a little differently, but it's a funny story. But I wrote it going to the California Rehabilitation Center because they have Norco camp right off of that. And it made sense to me. It's a YOP institution. They can house them at the camp. They can vet them and everything else. So I ended up on a call with the secretary and the director and Scott, everyone on tow.
Oh, wow.
And Scott says, man, whose boneheaded idea is this, right? And I'm like, yeah, that's mine.
Yeah.
So if you want this camp to fail, put it in CRC, and for good reason. It's in the middle of a city. It's not a real camp. They have to house inside the institution every night, right? And he goes, get this thing out to the woods, get it out to where the camps are, get them away from the city, put them in the camp environment. And Pine Grove just happened. I knew I was part of the review process for the Amity contract.
Mm-hmm.
And so I knew that we didn't have very many individuals up there at Pine
Grove at the time. Yeah, it almost died.
Right. And but we had all these counselors through Amity and the ARC. And so we had this big contract that got awarded, not much to do with them. So I said, you know what? There's a camp nearby, about 40 minutes, called Growlersburg, a beautiful camp. Scott came out, met me, and I took him to see Growlersburg, and it's just been a great working relationship since. And he agreed to split off for a little while part of that contract and put the counseling services over at Growlersburg, because while they weren't county border youth, which we house at Pine Grove, they were still youth, right? The Youthful Offender Program, and so that was my start to Scott. And what an incredible ally, an individual that truly wants to see again people succeed, wants to see people change their lives, wants to break incarceration.
Definitely,
utilized him many times, and in my 3 years in SAC, and I'm sure he utilized me several times also. But So that was my experience.
With Scott, yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, incredible individual.
Yeah, for sure.
definitely.
He's changed all of our lives. You know, he's still helping us out so much. Yeah, and honestly, one of our goals is to hopefully someday be able to share this podcast and in prison, to show people there like, hey, look, you know, it's not too late to turn things around. It's never like because one of my insecurities was coming home. I got incarcerated at the age of 14. Never had a job. Didn't even graduate from high school out here. I graduated from high school in there and got my college degree in there. So I was like, man, what am I gonna do when I come home? Like I don't know what I'm gonna do. Until Scott came and was like, told us about ARC and how they could help us get these different careers, you know, and film really stood out to me because in there, you know, they have a movie channel and you watch movies all day. So I was like, man, imagine working on that, you know, being behind the scenes. So that's how I got inspired. But it'll be nice for them to see something like this, like, look, because we have different guests from all types of different
nonprofits, formerly incarcerated people, friends.
Everyone's doing something different, you know, like some are film, some are, you know, in construction, and, you know, like, it'll be nice to show them, like, look, there's different paths you could take and to hear the different testimonies of, you know, formerly incarcerated individuals, like, don't worry about it. It all works out. You know, you're going to come home, you could do this or that, you know. I think it'll help a lot in that aspect. So it would be a dream of ours to someday be able to show this to them so they could get inspiration and some form of direction too of what they could do.
I would say there's a possibility. Yeah. Getting it into the eyes and the ears of the right people. And, you know, the incarcerated population now have tablets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they're still working out the new contract. The camps used to not have the tablets. Securus, I believe, won the contract. And so camps got them first on the second go round because they went without them for so long, and now they're instituting them in the institutions. But it's a new platform, new everything. But once that gets done by the end of this year, I think they
could have access. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of things I would like to see go on that tablet. I'd like to see the tablets actually have. And again, I'm not working for CDCR anymore, but you know, hopefully I can help have some influence in getting it done through ARC or any other organization. But I think on every single tablet there should be a page, even on the general population yards, that says, "Hey, you want to go to camp? Click here for your person." And in private, they can do that. Click on that tab and educate themselves to the Anti-Recidivism Coalition, to the camp program, to, you know, podcasts and all these things that will benefit them. Because there's a lot of information out there.
Yeah, so much.
It needs to be shared.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, not too many know about it. So this will solve all that for sure.
Yeah.
Jersey, you have any questions? Jimmy?
Well, John, did you explain how did you meet Scott Butnick? Were you incarcerated at the time?
Also, like I said, Mike Mendoza gave me that call during the time he was policy director. But I remember this newsletter used to go around all the blocks, and I had a little different narrative at that time. I didn't want to hear about like changes and stuff because for many years I would hear, "Oh, this is about to change. This law's about to change," and next, you know, we're all getting sent out of state. So like I stopped putting my chips in that type of pot, you know. So, but one day Mike Mendoza went home on that SB 260 law. He was the first one to go home on that, and when I saw that happen, it was like historic.
Yeah.
And as we ate and, you know, prayed him out and left, I was like, wow, this is happening. And then I started getting more familiar with ARC and how they started changing policy. And they're to this day, working on some pretty big bills and in collaboration with other organizations. And when I finally got hired out by ARC, it was around Christmas time, 2018. I go to this Christmas party, and this gentleman with sneakers, regular pants, rolls up on me, and he's like, "What do you think about this organization?" And we spent some time that night, and I was like, I'm just kind of figuring it out. I didn't really know anybody. It wasn't from LA, from Ventura. So, but they were very hospitable with me, So the next day I'm at the LA office, and they're like, "Hey, the movie producer's coming right now, Scott Budnick." So I'm like, "Okay, let me see what this guy is."
The same guy.
And when he did the building, it was him. I was like, "Man, that's the guy I was kicking it with last night." Yeah. Never told me who he was and what he did. So like for me, that was a good example. Like I get to go into the institution. I get to go into the halls. And I don't go in there telling them who I am. I want to know who they are.
Yeah.
And like, that's just the way it is. That's our way out.
Yeah.
The heart. Also, Captain Munn, I'm so indebted to him for choosing me. I got a state ID. I go to any institution.
It's crazy.
I go in there with a message.
Yeah.
Real message, a message that has substance and that's real, and they remember, because a lot of them, they remember me, One thing I'll never forget, when one guy told me, "Thank you, bro. Thank you for coming back.
Yeah.
Thank you for that message that you have." Because they don't know, but a lot of people don't come home, not because they got injured by somebody else, but because of self-infliction.
Yeah.
Because they gave up. Because they didn't think they were ever going to come home and do anything. That's a lie.
Yeah.
That's the message. Hold now.
Yeah.
There's a way out.
Yeah.
And I know this isn't yours, but it's the first time I heard it from Jon, and I think it's I was just going to say it in here too, because it's true. It ties your story, and even my story as far as where it's at. And Jon, first time I heard it from Jon, I've heard it elsewhere too, but first time I heard it from Jon was in a reception center, and I used it anytime he couldn't come with me, I used it. And I'm just saying this for your audience, because it really is what all these organizations, the ARC, even the Department of Corrections, even CAL FIRE, VTC, you got FFA. I know you guys are going to talk to them. I forget Michelle's organization. She's FFA also, but I think she also has like Igniting Futures, and she's going to be an incredible powerhouse. Oh yeah, powerhouse, an incredible interview for you coming up. But the reality is that within corrections, right, there is pathways, there is jobs, there are careers. You don't have to sit on a yard and rot. And one of the things that Jon always said, and a lot of people took to it, we saw reactions to it all the time, is, really what all these organizations and all these groups and the film industry and are telling individuals now is, we were all sitting here and we were all watch this crazy guy right here having a meltdown. And I'm not talking about morality, right? Mm-hmm. But I took $100 bill, I'm going to say it, and I threw it on the ground, right? People would pick it up because it's $100.
Yeah.
And if I took that same $100 bill and I threw it on the ground and then I shoved it in the mud, people would pick it up because it's $100. It still has its value. Mm-hmm. And then if I took it and I tore it in half and threw half over there and half over there, people are going to go pick it up, tape it together. Right? And that's really what everyone's saying now, that you might come from a shitty background. You might come from a tough background where you feel you've been stepped on, shoved in the mud, dragged through it, right? A whole different lot of life than how I grew up. A whole different world from how I grew up, right? That I'll never understand because of how I grew up. But it doesn't matter anymore. What you decide to do for yourself, everyone's telling people nowadays, especially the incarcerated population, that they have value still, right? that depending on what they do with their lives, the work they put into it, the direction they want, the focus and determination to reach out to programs, to reach out to the ARC and different things that, they get to kind of choose their wealth. But that's the whole thing. It is up to the individual still to choose their wealth,
100%
worth, right? And what their life's going to be worth. But there's organizations out there now and there's programs out there now that care. So
100%, definitely.
And wealth.
Yeah. Well, Captain Fred, John, thank you guys so much for being here and for sharing your story, your knowledge, and all the information. Thank you for the work that you do and for making a difference in our communities. We appreciate you so much. We appreciate your time. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
It's a privilege having you, boss.
To be honest.
Thank you. And we'll do it again. We're
gonna do more.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And that's our way out. Subscribe, like. If you have any questions, let us know.